So you see, the gospel of Jesus Christ is full. The full gospel is a gospel that speaks deliverance in the spirit, speaks deliverance to your soul, and deliverance to your body. It speaks deliverance to your spirit in salvation. It speaks deliverance to your soul in restorative process, and also speaks deliverance to your body in the healing and the performing of diverse miracles and casting out of devils and cleansing all sorts of people. And that is the fullness of God's salvation. And in fact, the word soteria, which we understand where we get salvation from, is not just deliverance from the devil, but deliverance from sin. It's also deliverance from sickness. I'm sure we've heard that many times. Deliverance from sickness, deliverance from poverty, deliverance from every appearance of sin or every manifestation of sin. And how many of you know that sickness and disease are a manifestation of sin? Oh, the Bible says in Romans chapter 5 that sin entered the world through one man, and after that came death. Sin, after sin came through one man, after that came death. Now the process that sin leads to death is through sickness. You know that man was not designed to die. How many of you know that? When God created man and put man in the garden, man was not designed to die. Man was not created to die. That was why there was a tree of life in there. He was meant to be eating the tree of life freely, and just eat and enjoy the tree of life. He was supposed to eat the tree of life freely. And as he was eating the tree of life, he was maintaining himself. Man was not designed to die. And death, as a matter of fact, is something that is alien to man's nature. That's why we are always running away from death. You don't want to hear about that, because somewhere inside of you, you know that death is not yours. It's the last enemy that we have conquered by the cross. And the path of death, or the thing that leads to death, is sickness. Sickness comes in the middle of that. Sin brought sickness. Sickness leads to death. The end game of every sickness is to lead you to death. Don't get confused. The end game of the headache, the end game of the fever, the end game of the diabetes, the end game of the hypertension, the end game, the destination where it is leading to is death. That is the only thing it has to do. The end game of the joint pain that you're pain or whatever thing, the end game of the tumor in your body, the end game of the swelling, the end game of the bleeding that has refused to stop is only one way. It's going directly to death. And the Bible says that God has delivered us from sin, from the consequences of sin, and from the death that pertained to sin. So therefore, when salvation came, salvation was an all-round package. Somebody say all-round package.